Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and a big warm hello to my subscribers. I love you guys. Well, today we are doing heart-themed DIYs that can be kept up all year round. And as always, I hope you enjoy the show. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. For this one, I started off with some packing foam that I got in something I ordered from Amazon. I keep everything. So it is that foam that has a lot of little white balls, but if you go really slow and cut, it wasn't that bad. So I went ahead and cut out a huge heart shape. It's pretty big. I think it's like 18 inches high at the highest point here. And then I cut out some foam board from the Dollar Tree to put on the top so that my surface was nice and smooth. Now, because we are dealing with foam, I chose to use cold glue and just let it set up because I didn't want, if you've worked with foam before, if you use hot glue, you'll burn a hole down in there, so it doesn't really adhere really well. So most of this project was done with cold glue or Mod Podge, and that worked perfect. It was fine. Next, we're going to be using this garden fence from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to be cutting it with the tin snippers. This was the best method I found to cut these. So you're going to cut out that shape right there to start with, and then I just took little bits of pieces here and there and decided to add to it. So you can do whatever you want to fill in the little blank spaces. I just didn't want quite as many blank spaces. I mean, this would even be pretty just with a simple, less is more approach where you just put one of these in the middle, that's it, and then do some kind of pretty border, maybe with beads or something, like half beads. That would also look really pretty. But I wanted the whole thing to have a 3D look, and this is what I came up with right here when we were all done. So to hold those on, again, because we're working with foam, I went with Mod Podge because Mod Podge is a little stronger than regular school glue. It has more of a plastic type chemical. They actually add plastic into it, and I've shown on my previous videos how you can just peel that off and it's like a sheet, a really thin sandwich bag basically, but it is a much more durable hold. At least that was what I had available. You can always use a stronger glue, but that's what I had available. So I went ahead and stayed with the Mod Podge, and that also allowed me to adjust the pieces where I wanted them at the perfect angle, and then I just put a heavy box on top of it and let it dry. Once it was dry, I went ahead and gave it a coat of the chalk paint in the color Plaster. It's Waverly. And I did a lot of debating whether or not I wanted to dry brush this because, when we work with the Dollar Tree tiles, at least with me, I often dry brush over because the designs that are kind of puffed up are subtle. So to bring them out some more, I dry brush, but these are so chunky that you don't really need to dry brush them because there's already so many natural shadows happening. So after sitting and staring at it for about an hour, yes, about an hour, I decided I'm just going to leave it all creamy one color. I think that looks best. This is actually going to hang in my hallway. And to solve the side problem where we don't want people knowing it's made out of foam, I just took my old trick and I put some of the joint compound on the side. Once it dries, I will sand that down. And then to hang it, again, wet glue. I used wood glue this time and put some duct tape over it, and then put a heavy, I have a heavy Waverly container on there to keep the string really tight because you don't want to see it come up from behind when you hang it. Although this isn't heavy, so it shouldn't stretch too much. And there's two staples in there that I did with a staple gun just for extra strength. Now you see those sides right there. See on the side of where you cut the garden fence, there's always like little open areas when you split them in the areas where they're connected. That's unavoidable. I don't like that. You can leave it if you want to, but this is going to hang in my hallway, like I said, and you are going to see that. So what I'm going to do is go to the Dollar Tree and get some of the caulking that they sell in the red tube and just squirt it in there and fill it in so it's all cohesive. But this came up so beautiful. It's hanging in my hallway right now, and I absolutely love this. Let me know what you think. For this project, I cut out a heart shape, like a wreath, I guess, out of the cardboard. And then I'm just taking the craft sticks, the smaller ones, and I'm putting them all over wherever I can. I even cut some of them to give this more thickness, I guess, and more substance, more weight. And I'm going to do it on the front and the back of the heart. Next, I'm just using plain old masking tape. You can use any kind of tape you want. It would work for this, but I'm going to cover the entire heart in the masking tape. It's going to give it more of a flat surface. And so I kind of overlap on the tape as well, but that's what it looks like when we're all done. Next, I mean, you're not really going to see that the surface is kind of uneven with this anyway, and even if you did, it would add to the charm. Next, I'm going to paint it white. Now, I'm just putting this in there to show you what I did, but then I changed my mind and thought, oh no, I want to do something else with this heart. So I painted it black. So you can skip the white part if you want, just go straight to the black. Blow dried it. Then I'm going to use regular old school glue, and I'm going to squirt it all over this and paint it and cover this with the school glue. For those of you that have watched my channel before, you might guess here we're going to do like a crackle medium effect on this heart. That kind of, that's why I was talking about the surface being uneven. It doesn't matter, because with the crackle effect, it's just going to add to the look and make it look even better. So I blow dry it till it's just tacky. So it's not wet anymore. So you can paint it with your brush and not get glue on your brush. That's the trick. You just, when you touch it, it's kind of sticky. And then I covered the whole thing again with, I used chalk paint, and it was folk art chalk paint. I have the link down below in my description box if you're interested in the one that I got from Amazon. And then after that, I just took my heat gun, which is really just like a blow dryer. I mean, you can use a blow dryer for this. And I just dried it and waited for the cracks to appear. And when they all appeared, we were all done. The next part to this is decorating it. Now, I didn't have enough cardboard because I did so many cardboard crafts in this video, but normally, honestly, if I, had enough cardboard, I would have cut out 5 of those hearts and then put probably the tumbling tower blocks in between and made this really chunky and thick, so it was like an inch thick. I think that would have looked even better. It still came out very pretty, and I decided to keep it just in the green and white theme here. All of these florals are from Dollar Tree except for the boxwood that I got really cheap because I got a whole bunch for like $9.99. The link is down below in my description box if you're interested, from Amazon. But I just feel that would be even prettier if you can make it chunkier. I just ran out of cardboard, so you could do either or. And this is it. And I'm going to put it in the middle of my eucalyptus wreath on my front door. So for this project, I am using that metal heart that I found at the Dollar Tree. So we're just taking some of the scrapbook paper, and you can use anything you want here to fill this heart in. I just wanted some ticking stripe in pink because I thought that was pretty. I would have liked cream too, but they didn't have any cream in that package. So I went with what I had, traced it out. We're using our trusty glue stick there. Again, applying very generously to glue this in, and then we're just adding some flowers. I went with lavender because I actually think, for all of you French country people out there who love my French country videos, this would make a great French country decor piece all year round. So I wanted to give it a little bit of a French twist, so that's what we're doing. We added the lavender, and then it has a hole in the top, and I went ahead and put some twine through it. That's the Dollar Tree little keys that you can buy. They're so cute. And I just tied it at the top. Now for the base, because I want to hold this up, I'm using one of the Dollar Tree wooden squares that you can buy in a package. I'm going to be placing mine on top of a riser that I switch things out all year round. And I'll make it here in this video as well, so you'll see how I made it. But I don't want to glue it directly on the riser because it will damage it. So to give it a base, because it wouldn't stand up on its own, I'm using this little cheap piece of wood. However, if you don't have a riser, then I would go to the Dollar Tree and buy one of their wooden rounds that are really nice and make like a really pretty base for this. You could put wooden beads around it, make it really fancy, or put little round wooden bead legs on it to kind of lift it up. Use your imagination and have fun. But I'm going this route, and I'm just covering it with the Spanish moss, giving it a good trim, and then we're going to go ahead and glue it, we're going to go ahead and make our riser for this. So this is just 2 wood rounds I got from Walmart. Each of those wood rounds are $1, so they're actually cheaper than the Dollar Tree. It's in the crafting section. I'm taking some wood beads, hot gluing it down, securing each one with some wood glue to make sure they don't go anywhere over time. And then to further secure it, I use some of the wood glue and dot it on top of just beads here and there, and then I'm using hot glue so it's a permanent hold, and I'm going to put the other one on top. Then using one of the candlestick holders from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to get it in the center there, and I do that just by sliding it around on one of the cutting mats so it's nice and slippery. Once I have my middle, I trace it, Use some super glue and a little bit of hot glue. You've probably seen this before when you see DIYs. We always use a little hot glue because we want to keep moving. If you're not filming, you could always just stop and do all of the super glue, or ETH 6000 is another really good one for a permanent hold. This has stayed, so far I'm really happy. And I'm just going to glue the bottom down. Next, I give this a coat of paint with the plaster color from Waverly Chalk Paint. Even the antique parchment color from Apple Barrel Paint would work for this, but I do have glass on the bottom there, and the Waverly Chalk Paint does tend to stick a little bit better. And if you make my homemade chalk paint recipe, just use a higher quality paint as your base paint before you add the chalk paint ingredients in there, and that would work as well. You just want something maybe like a primer instead. So I'm just doing different coats here. I start off with the parchment color, then I do white, then I do a little bit of gray, and this is definitely, you just kind of have to eye it. I even add a little bit of brown in there, that's territorial beige. But this is my riser, and I put it on top, and I'm gonna display it like this on my shelf. Here's a wooden heart palette that I found at the Dollar Tree, and then I went online and I picked 3 pretty prints. So I went ahead and printed these up on computer paper, and the heart was a lot wider than what I thought, so it doesn't cover completely, and I'm just going about trying to match it up so that you can't tell where the seam is, and in the end it looks great. You can't see where one begins and one ends. And I'm using the Elmer's glue stick. It is the super hold or super strong one, but it's a great way to apply pretty much, well, almost everything. Not everything, some things do require Mod Podge, but you don't deal with wrinkling when you use a glue stick, and you can always seal it if you want to with a clear varnish over and leave it there, or after you put your varnish on and let it dry, you can apply Mod Podge if you like that look, and your paper won't wrinkle that way because you have that protective light shield of plastic on it. So I'm taking a nail file. This is a really rugged nail file like the ones you use with acrylic nails, and I'm just going around the edge. Super simple to do. You get a nice clean edge that way. And now I'm going ahead and making a messy bow. All of my ribbon is from the Dollar Tree. Look at that super cute one right there with the barn. I found that and I thought, oh my gosh, this is perfect for the color combos. So I just stuck it, as you saw, right there in the center. I'm holding it down with my finger. And this is a fern pick I got from Walmart. It was not expensive. It was definitely not over $3. It may have even been a little bit less, but you get a whole bunch. This is going to last me a long, long time. In the end, I think it ends up being the same as a Dollar Tree, or maybe even a better deal in some cases, depending on how you use your florals, because you get so much. And I cut mine off, as you can see. And I'm just tucking some boxwood in there. The boxwood is from Amazon. Super good deal. The link is down below in my description box. And these gorgeous soft roses that I found at the Dollar Tree. I love these. I went ahead and I stuck one in the middle of my bow, and I ordered some wooden beads online from Amazon, but they have not arrived yet. And for this DIY, that was not going to be negotiable. I really wanted to do the entire hanger with wooden beads. It's one of my favorite looks. I think it makes things that hang look so high end, but we're working with what we have. So I grabbed this Dollar Tree sign that I had in my craft stash, and I cut the beads off of that. I have another DIY plan for that one, so I'm not worried about it. I have a total of 10 beads, and I'm just going to split them on either side of the Dollar Tree twine. So we have 5 on one side and 5 on the other. And here's a trick. Some of you may know this. You use a little hot glue on the tip of your twine. Now, my glue gun is on low, and I've been doing crafting for many years, and I got, I guess, tough fingers here. But you want to be careful if you're new at this. Make sure your glue is very lukewarm before you start twisting, but you'll get a nice firm tip there that you can easily use to thread the beads through. It just makes it a lot simpler. And of course, if you have a big needle, like a big upholstery needle or something with a big eye on the end of it, you can always put your twine through that as well. So we're just gluing this on the back, and that's it. And I absolutely love this one. for this next project, and this is one I have shown in other, it's a DIY hack that I have shown in other videos, and I love this one, and I thought this will be so cool to try on a cardboard heart. It's kind of a really quick faux wood bark look. Gives it your project a lot of texture. You just use tissue, regular old Kleenex tissue, and you take it apart. So there's like the 2 ply there. You want to just use 1 layer. You could probably use 2 if you wanted to. I just use 1. And you give it a quick little spritz of water and you watch it crinkle up. That's the magic. And then you take some spray glue. I use the one from the Dollar Tree, and you spray it so that it stays. So you could also use, I have used watered down glue where I kind of do 50% glue, 50% water in that bottle and shake it up. It also works. And then you saw me drying it, and now we're going to paint it. And you can see it has lots of texture there, and it automatically also covers the side of your cardboard, which is really handy when you're doing cardboard crafts and you want them to look nice and expensive, to get the tissue around the edge of it, because that way it covers it and you paint it and it looks like a regular, like maybe a ceramic craft or just something you would buy at a store. So now I took some of the creamy color there that was the chalk paint in plaster. Then I did gray, the apple barrel gray, pewter gray, and I did territorial beige next. So what I would do different if I had to do this again, I was trying to get a different looking bark, kind of one that was more dirty. Not dirty looking, that's the wrong word, just weathered. But I was thinking afterwards, I would have rather used white. So if you want it to look like a birchwood more, you're definitely going to want to stick with the base color being white, and then go with the gray and the browns. And it doesn't really matter what color, gray and browns, just get it as close as you can to the ones you see here. But it just gives you a nice quick faux wood. It looks really pretty. So now I'm just putting on the little garnishes. I put a ribbon sideways, and I decided to go for that look where you wrap the twine sideways, which by the way is a bit tricky because you do have to glue it in place. Otherwise it slides off your heart. So there is a little bit of glue on each one of those strands on both sides to hold that in place. And then I'm taking some of the twine and I'm just going to tie it in the middle to give it another look. After I tie it in a knot, I'm going to wrap it around just twice, secure it with a dot of glue, and call it a day. So to add some nice weight to this project and to prevent it from warping, I am going to go ahead and glue some craft sticks on the back. I always use the little ones because they're kind of thicker and heavier in my opinion, and they do a great job at keeping everything really stiff in the back. So next I'm using some of the Dollar Tree ribbon that I found. It looks almost like netting. It comes in a rusty color and it comes in this cream color, and I'm going to tie 2 bows, and then I'm going to lay them just crisscross, like a cross on top of each other to make like a little flower formation. You see me doing it right there. I'm gluing it down. And that's how I made my bow for this one. And then I'm using these little Dollar Tree hearts that I found last year at the Dollar Tree. And then I'm using these little tiny wooden beads that I got from Temu. You can also get them on Amazon. They're really small, and I'm going to make a hanger, and we're all done. For this DIY, you're going to need some lace doilies from the Dollar Tree, some embellishment of your choosing, some cloth or ribbon of your choosing, and now we're going to take 2 of the doilies and glue them together. Now I did this because they were a little bit thin and I was worried about them tearing. You don't have to do this if you're short on them, but you'd have to be super, super careful. So I'm taking some polyfiber fill, and I'm just putting a little tiny thin amount in the middle there, and now I'm going to glue those doilies together. Now remember, they're double-sided, so they're extra thick, and that's it. You're just gluing it around, and you're being really gentle so that you don't crease any of the paper here. You definitely want to try and keep it smooth. Now this is some cloth that I have used in previous videos to make pillows. I have used it to stuff little garland for little pumpkins and little jack-o'-lanterns. So it was the top of a king-size bed skirt. You know, the top part, I cut off the ruffle and just took the top part because it looks very much like a drop cloth, and it also shreds and frays really easy. And now I'm taking some of the Dollar Tree mop yarn. These pull apart in 4 different strands. I love mops, you guys. I think they are so naturally primitive, but it blends perfectly if you have a rustic decor. And I'm just making a really pretty bow with this. First thing I do is tie the Dollar Tree lace ribbon together with those mop threads, and then I put the frayed cloth bow on top of it, and it just makes an absolutely beautiful embellishment. And what you see me doing here now is taking 2 of the mop threads. Now you don't tear these apart, they are left intact and full, and I'm making a top knot at the top because we're going to be gluing these hearts, kind of angling them at different angles a little bit down these threads here, and that will be what holds them as a cascading, beautiful hanging wall piece. You know, I'm going to end up putting these on one of my old windows. I snagged up a picture at the thrift store for about $5. It was perfect to convert into a window, and I went and bought some thin pieces of wood at Lowe's and glued them on and made a faux old white window that I love that look. And this is going to be a perfect decor piece hanging down that window. Check out how beautiful these came out. So this is actually how I make all of my hearts. Anytime I do hearts like this for cardboard, I only trace half of it for a template in different sizes, and then I just flip it over and do the other half so that I have symmetry. So I just wanted to put that in there just in case somebody's curious. I never do good hearts otherwise, they're always lopsided, which sometimes can be cute, but it's not what I wanted for these DIYs. So I'm using this quilt batting, and I'm just cutting it out and then gluing it on top of the cardboard because I wanted my heart to be a little bit puffy. You could use filling from an old pillow, from an old quilt. Again, use your imagination, even cotton. But use your imagination, just have fun with this. And of course, we're going to cut it to match the shape of the heart. And then after we're all done with that, we're going to go ahead and cover it with some cloth. So now we're doing the material. I did want to share a little life hack. It's kind of a craft hack too, because I use it for everything when I'm too lazy to whip out my iron. So when I'm sewing, I do iron because you have to iron when you sew. But I just use a water bottle and squirt, mist my wrinkles out. Basically, it's like a cold steam. And it works. I mean, there's a Dollar Tree cutting mat under there so that my surface doesn't get soaking wet, and I just spray the wrinkles out and then dry it, and we're all done. And this is some Dollar Tree material that I found, but again, you could use old shirts, you could use anything you can find around the house, it would all work. And I just trace it out, but I do leave a border there. You can see that I leave enough material, especially where the heart curves in the center. You want to be really careful to not cut a big slit there because otherwise the cardboard will show. Next, there's this little faux lace doily that they sell at the Dollar Tree. You don't often find them. If you can't find them, don't stress, but you can use any piece of lace you want, or you can use another piece of material down there. Again, have fun, just use your imagination. And I'm just going to hot glue this on at the bottom. I was debating whether or not I should cover the whole heart with the faux lace, but I thought that might be overkill, so I just went with just a little tiny bit halfway down. Now I'm using the antique wax. Any antique wax will work for this, and I'm just going to distress this heart a little bit to make it look more vintage. But here's a great trick. When you see those little head wraps for little girls at the Dollar Tree, grab them because they make great little garnishes for your DIYs. And then this heart ribbon lace, which this is at most Dollar Trees that I've been to, so you should be able to find this. Now I'm just going to go ahead and take the glue gun and tack this down like the ribbon, and also the elastic on that little headband. That did wiggle, and I recommend that you definitely tack it down with some glue so that it will stay in place. Next, I took a Dollar Tree pearl and I glued one in the middle of that little circle. I wanted the bow on the top here that I added to have some more loops, so I decided to go ahead and make them. I just makeshifted this. I mean, if you know how to tie a double bow, that would be easier, but I just wanted to let you know in case you noticed that I did add some extra loops in there afterwards. And I've had these pearls for so long that I just want to use them up on something, and I thought it would be pretty to add some more garnish on this. This definitely takes it more from like a country look to a French country look. So I decided to use some more of the Dollar Tree lace to make a hanger on the back. And I don't know if you noticed, I also glued a little white flower in the center of that bow. And now I'm just adding one of the Dollar Tree keys to this because it's a perfect craft for that. And look at all the keys. If you find those are so cute. Be sure to pick them up. They're great for crafting. But I think this came up so pretty. For this craft, you're going to need a heart-shaped box and some paper of your choice. Now, this is that antique paper. Again, it's going to be down below in my description box. I got it off of Amazon. I love this. It's like a whole huge package of aged paper with all different designs, so I can't wait to use it in different DIYs. I think it's so cute. You can also look for something like this online and print it up. You don't have to buy that package. But we start out by cutting out a heart to fit inside this box. Now, if you have a plain window box, you can make this craft as well. They do sell these little chocolate box shapes and hearts at the 99-cent only store and at the Dollar Tree. They're usually a little bit smaller. This was a C's chocolate box, believe it or not, that my husband got me for Christmas. I only eat chocolate once a year like that, and it's Christmas time, and it's C's chocolate, the molasses chips. I love those. That is my vice. Those are probably so unhealthy, and I think I eat them like in 3 days. I mean, I absolutely love those things, but I'm not giving it up. That's my once a year treat. So this year he got me it in a heart-shaped box, and I thought, oh, this is great. I'm going to keep this for Valentine's Day and make a DIY out of it. So I took that white primer again, painted it white. Now I'm using some of the sisal rope, and I'm just burning off the little fraying edges. On the sisal rope, it has those little like pricky hairs sticking here and there, just like the twine does from the Dollar Tree. So I just wanted to burn that off before I put it in the paper box for obvious reasons. I didn't want to torch my heart. And then I glue it in around the edges, as you see there. Now I'm just applying some of the antique wax all over to make it look like a faux wood. And I do take the wax here and stain up the paper a little bit and make it look old and distressed. And now I decide I want ribbon. It would have been better if I had decided I wanted ribbon before I glued the sisal rope down, but that wasn't the case. It worked out fine. I got a nice tight fit, but definitely if you want to do this DIY, please do the ribbon before you do any kind of twine or, edging around the edge there. Also, I want to mention that when I burn the little fraying hairs off of the twine, it leaves a little brown mark behind, which I was actually after because it looks like it's inked up or kind of waxed up or stained up a little bit. It's all part of making it look old and vintage. And the twine from the Dollar Tree does the same thing, the nautical rope. If you're using the white nautical rope, you don't need to do it. But if you're using the other nautical rope, you might need to burn it a little bit. Well, not burn it. Take a flame over it a little bit, float it over it to get rid of some extra little hairs there that you don't want. And the little marks that are left behind, if you're doing rustic or primitive decor, is actually desirable. So don't worry about that. It looks great when you're all done. And now I'm just taking my drill. I'm going to be just making some of the little garnishes I'm going to add to this to make it look nice and cute, just drilling some holes in there. I have a heart left over from the truck craft still, and we are edging everything with permanent marker and using permanent marker to cover up any areas that are showing that are pink or too bright for this craft. Now, because this is cardboard, I get away with using a tack to put little holes through it. If it was wood or something thicker, you're probably going to need to drill again, but I got really lucky with that. I just used a tack and it worked just fine. And again, I'm going for the curly cube hanger. I love that. I'm just going to tie it through. And what I end up doing to make like a cork on the other side, I don't know if that's the right word for it, but just so it doesn't come out, I take and I wrap up tighter curly cubes. You're going to see me do it here, so that stops it from going through the hole again backwards. For the tinier things I want to hang off of this, I end up using a skewer stick to wrap the wire around because obviously you want that to be really small and dainty. Last but not least, I decide to add a little floral at the top to make this look nice and romantic, and I absolutely love the way that this came out. For this craft, you're going to need a can. I'm using a coffee can because I have a lot of them, a heart shape of some kind, some scrap material, and some buttons or embellishments, whatever you want, some ribbon, just anything that you want to decorate with. I'm going to start by giving this a coat of a very neutral, soft, kind of creamy tan color here. Now you're going to take the heart shapes and you're going to hot glue them together, but you're going to leave a little opening because we're going to be stuffing these. You can see me using some polyfiber fill. I purchased the pillows from Walmart. They're about $3.79 where I live, and they come in the center bins. But you get a lot more polyfiber fill in the pillows than you do when you buy polyfiber fill from a fabric store, at least where I live. So get the cheapest deal you can get. You can also just use cotton balls pulled apart as well. That would be just fine, and those are usually really accessible for most people. So use a cotton ball pulled apart. You want to pull it apart though so it's not too lumpy. You want to really make it wispy. That's the trick there, to make it nice and smooth. You're putting in little tiny bits at a time. And now I'm just decorating them and making them look really cute. So you're going to see what I do here. I'm using the Dollar Tree ribbon. I love to cut this ribbon in half. One, because it looks, you know, if you're making small things, it fits better. And what you see me tying on there is some mop thread. I pull the mop thread apart. I get the little individual yarn strands, and I love those as well. I think they kind of have a natural curl to them, a wave, and they also are very fuzzy looking. So I just love that look for what I'm going for. And I'm just using some spare buttons that I have. I showed you the Dollar Tree buttons because you can paint those, but I have a lot of spare buttons that I'm probably never going to use. You know, I'm never going to use them. So I decided to go ahead and use them for this craft and just decorate them. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the water-based stain this time and stain these little hearts and make them look, you know, rustic and primitive. And that's what we have when I'm all done. Now back to the coffee can here. I love these Dollar Tree lace doilies. I've had a thing for paper lace doilies since I was a little girl. I just think they're so pretty. I've always wanted to craft with them, but I never really knew what to do, so I'm really trying to make an effort here. I do have to cut it down a little smaller because it's not going to fit on the top, you know, the outside of the coffee can. It was a little bit too big. And I take some more of that paper I bought from Amazon. It's age paper. This is the striped sheet out of that pack. That's below my description box as well if you want to see what I bought. And now I'm just using my finger to apply the Mod Podge. I do use my fingers a lot in crafting, you guys. It just helps me. Sometimes I can't get the look I want with a brush, and I feel like I have more control with my fingers. Let me know how many of you guys do that too. But I get asked a lot how I get things down in the grooves with cans, and I do it with a sponge. I dab it gently while it's wet. Make sure there's not excessive Mod Podge on your sponge when you're doing that, because you'll risk lifting the paper because it gets too sticky, and you'll risk lifting it and tearing it. But if you use a clean sponge and you dab gently and you're patient, you'll get the results that you're after. And now I'm taking some spare plastic bags and some old moss that used to be really green, but it's actually going brown, which is what I wanted, and some absolutely beautiful lamb's ear I got at Hobby Lobby. It was $10 for 6 feet. It was on sale, a garland. I bought 3 of them. And I'm just taking a skewer from the Dollar Tree and poking the material. It's super easy to do because, you know, the end of those skewers are sharp. And I've made a little heart garden, you guys. It's so cute. Let me know what you think. Going to need 2 Dollar Tree signs that are rectangle or some spare wood like I have here. This wood was free for me because I live by a Home Depot that gets piles and piles of scrap wood that they, I think, try to sell at a discount, and there's just too much of it, so they start telling people to take it. Here's some heart prints I got from the Microsoft clip art site, and then the striped one there is from some Amazon aged paper packet that I purchased. I love it. And now I'm just using a glue stick and I'm going to apply these hearts down. Now I'm taking the bird, I'm just using a sponge and going around these hearts to kind of add a little shadow and a little border on them. I'm not looking for a super like ink stained look on these. I'm just looking to give it a little border. And now I'm taking some black paint and I'm just going around the edges here and adding a little bit of that old distressed look. I also just dry brushed over the top of the hearts a little bit there. You can see it, but I think this is less is more. For this craft, you're going to need a heart shape, some cardboard, some wooden shims or painter sticks, and some craft sticks. Now, I'm using some antique music paper, and I'm tracing out the little hearts so that we're going to have 3 here. And if you have the wooden hearts from the Dollar Tree, feel free to use those and cover them with paper. You don't have to use cardboard. It's just I always look to save some money when I can, and also to encourage my international viewers as well, so that if they don't have a Dollar Tree, they don't feel left out. You can do it either way. I knew my craft was going to be completely covered, and it just didn't make sense to me to waste the wood hearts in case I need it for a craft where I want the hearts to look like wood. So I'm just using cardboard. And now I'm taking and gluing the little shims together. So you can see that I've had to cut up some of the craft sticks shorter there and put it underneath. This is because I want my front side to be level. So if you're working with shims, you're going to have them where they're kind of at that graduated angle. So that can create a problem for you on the other side with a level surface. Definitely paint sticks would work better as far as being flat. You can even use large craft sticks, the jumbo craft sticks if you want, in a pinch or just a piece of wood or a Dollar Tree sign for this craft. You don't have to use the paint sticks. I just wanted mine to look like a palette. And now I'm taking some of the Walmart twine. I'm going to edge these, to cover the cardboard, but I think I would have edged them anyway with the wood. That's why I didn't bother with the wood hearts. I just wanted that look. And I'm cleaning it up a little bit with a lighter because that little bit of twine from Walmart is really, really nice, but it's very hairy and furry. And I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it like you see me doing there. Sorry, I'm out of camera view a little bit. You'll see what I did in just a minute. I just glued the back and I'm wrapping it around at an angle across the heart. For the center heart, I'm going to go with a less is more approach here and just do a simple bow of lace and twine in the middle. Now, you're going to see me use the wax again on some of the Dollar Tree foam hearts. If you don't have foam hearts, you can probably get away with cutting out maybe a poster board heart and then putting the wax over it to get the faux wood grain. I'm pretty sure that would work because it's so small. And now I'm going to go ahead and make another twine bow. I'm using 3 fingers there and just wrapping it around. And that's what we end up with, cleaning it up a little bit. And there's the wrap that I did earlier that I said you would see. That's how it came out. And I'm going to glue that at the bottom end of it. And I'm going to glue that faux wood heart down in the center. Let your imagination soar, whatever you want to do, just have fun with it. For the base, I'm using some of the wood of a corn crate. If you don't have that, you can use some of the towering blocks from the Dollar Tree or any kind of scrap wood and just glue it down with some hot glue and make it a stand, and that's what you end up with. Let me know what you think, you guys. I think this came up so cute. So some of you will remember this DIY here that a lot of you requested that I show you. It was actually part of 3 DIYs I did last year when I tried to launch my channel. It was my very first video, my very first DIY series. It did not make it to YouTube, and I still want to share these with you. I think they're great DIYs, so there's one coming up here, but please forgive me for the quality of the film here. It's not my best, but it's still a great instructional video, and I think you'll enjoy the DIY. So here I am with a Dollar Tree wooden heart. I use this a lot for a template, and I'm just tracing out some book pages here, and I'm going to cut out just tons and tons of hearts. I happen to be a really big fan of the book page crafts. I think they look so romantic. For this craft at the time, I actually thought it would be super cute if I could have found an old romance novel and used those pages, because I was making it for Valentine's Day, just, to add some extra fun if somebody looks at it and starts reading the pages. But I didn't have that, unfortunately, but it still came up super cute, and you can use any pages you want from any book. And here's the Dollar Tree mop. I cut the middle part out because there were some hanging little points, and I try to make the surface as flat as possible, and then I take the mop string and glue it around in the center there to make a nice border. I'm going to go ahead and take the mop string and also make a bow. You'll see me do it here, and stick a bow on the bottom. I just thought that was a nice finishing touch, but this is what I ended up making, and I think it's super cute. Part 2 is my big beautiful orange beast named Thomas was absolutely in love with this craft from day one, and when I laid it on the floor in September 2020, he ate it. So the next craft, I'm going to show you what I end up doing with the leftover heart metal frame from the Dollar Tree. For this craft, I had some of those styrofoam fillings that came with some rice powder I had ordered, and I thought, that would be really neat for a craft. I didn't know what I wanted to do with it, but I thought I had this leftover heart frame. I couldn't, I didn't want to throw it away because it's perfectly good. In fact, this is one of those Dollar Tree items I think that if you can and when you can is really fun to change up, like make something, if you enjoy crafting. If you want it for a permanent home decor, it's different, but if you enjoy the art of crafting and you relax doing it, it's a really fun piece to tear everything off and make something new every year. So Thomas gave me a chance to do that, and I end up taking this styrofoam and gluing it all over this wreath. I have never worked with this foam before crafting, so I did not know what to expect. I have painted on foam before, but this foam was almost a little shiny and more absorbent. So I took my wax and practiced on the back of it, thinking I could make it look like faux wood and give it some grain, and it just wasn't doing it. So I take Territorial Beige here from Apple Barrel Paint, and I cover the whole thing, and this is what we end up with. And I take the wax and I do tap it on there to give it some dimension. It reminds me of a seaside village I went to. It was a resort, and there was this man there taking old driftwood. He had like a little mini drill, like what you use for acrylic nails, that barrel shape, and he was drilling top designs and grooves into the wood and making wreaths out of it in different shapes. He had circles, hearts. He would also do animals, and he did everything. But I thought, wow, it kind of looked like what he did, but I just felt it was a little too dark. I wasn't getting quite the look I wanted. I was looking at it thinking, this almost looks like, I don't know, brick? Anyway, so I ended up flocking it with a bit of white and I was happy with that. That was matching more the theme of my decor for this year's Valentine's Day. And of course, it can be kept up all year round, you guys. I do keep these wreaths up all year round, and I have a perfect metal huge frame on my wall that's very heavy looking, and because the heart is heavy looking, I realized it's going to be staged really beautifully there all year. So I'm taking some of my scrap material. I took a razor blade, I'm scraping it along the edge. That's how I frame my material, and I love the Dollar Tree mop, you guys. I have loved it for a long time now. I would love to hear back from you guys what you think this looks like. I mean, I guess if I had purchased those wreaths from the guy at the seaside resort there, I would have had something very similar to this on my wall. It would have been a great conversational piece, that's for sure. But I think because it was so lightweight, but it looked heavy like stone or brick, it threw me. I told my husband I cannot wait to hear what all my YouTube friends have to say. I found this great little envelope at the Dollar Tree. It is a Valentine's Day item, and I don't know if they're going to bring it out for another holiday, but you could always use other Dollar Tree signs and a utility knife and cut this shape if you want to. I would, because this craft came up so cute that I think it's worth doing. But it's just a simple pattern for an envelope. There's like a little house shape in the back. You can see in that shape there. I mean, this is easily something you could do just by measuring it out and cutting. Now I do choose to use Mod Podge to apply this paper because the label was really difficult to get off. I don't know if it was because they glued extra board in between to kind of make it so that you could slip things between the envelope. I'm not sure, but it took about 20 minutes of soaking, and then the glue was still on there, and it was a little bit kind of gummy and sticky still, and just not a suitable surface for a glue stick, so I went with the Mod Podge. I glued this paper down. This paper will be a free printable for you down below, and went ahead, did the same thing I did with all the other things. I just trimmed most of it off with my scissors and then take a sanding block just to kind of clean up the edges so they're nice and crisp and clean. And then that's what we have so far. And now I decide to go ahead and use, I still want it to be a gap just like it was when I bought it from the Dollar Tree, but I want it to look more high end. So I'm using 3 of the towering blocks. I glued them together in a row like you can see right here, and then I'm going to glue them on either side of the envelope, and that's what's going to create the little opening and gap for me so that I can put whatever I want inside the envelope. And of course, anytime you add wood like that, you're going to add weight, which makes the craft feel higher quality, like it comes from a Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Walmart or Kirkland's or wherever you shop. So the way I tackle the bottom here is just to use some craft sticks. These are the large craft sticks. I got them from Amazon. The link is probably down below my description box. I'm pretty sure it is. But you can get these at the Dollar Tree all day long as well. And I just cut off the ends and measured to create a nice flat wooden bottom. Using the furniture pen in walnut, I'm going to go ahead and distress this. Now, the paper definitely soaks up these pens really quick, so don't linger if you use the pen. Move quickly because it soaks in like a sponge, so you don't want it to go too far across the paper. Then we're going to take one of these Dollar Tree wooden hearts again. If you find the package of these wooden hearts, they are so elegant looking to me, the design there. I just think that's one of the higher end little wood cutouts that they've done at the Dollar Tree in a while. I glue that in the center, and now we're using some greenery I got from Amazon. I got a great deal. I will also leave the link down below in my description box, and I fill this up, but I absolutely love the way this came out. I saw these at the Dollar Tree on my last Shop With Me video, and I knew I could make something cute that I could keep up all year round. So I started off with removing the tinsel. Obviously, that's not going to work for all year round, but these little Dollar Tree, I don't know what you call them, They make them at Christmas time, all of the holidays, and they have that little plastic frame underneath. The frames are great for covering with other materials. So when you're done removing everything, this is what it looks like. And a little trick that I like to do when I'm cutting things that fly, whether they're craft sticks, or in this case, it's going to be those little spindly pieces that are hanging off of these hearts. I put them in a see-through plastic bag, and then I go ahead and use my clippers and snip. And as you can see, the bag controls them flying all over the place and makes the cleanup job a lot easier for you. Next, I'm using the microfiber cloth that you find in the automotive section at the Dollar Tree. These are also great for crafts, winter crafts, all year round crafts. They're just soft, furry pieces of material that make great covering, and I thought it would be so cute to make little furry, soft white hearts. I start by hot gluing it on the edge of the heart, and I'm just going to go about wrapping up these hearts with the cloth strips. So I'm just taking my time here and going really, really slow and wrapping it tight so the edges are nice and clean, and then you'll end up with something that looks like this. And then I'm going to do the other 2 hearts for a total of 3 covered hearts. I decide that I don't like that little brown piece hanging out, so I do take some white chalk paint and cover up the top and bottom of those. And then I go about painting one of these little foam hearts from Walmart. They were only like 98 cents. They may have even been 78 cents, but they were super cheap. And while that's drying, I tie these together using some of the Dollar Tree twine. Again, this is the nautical rope broken down into even smaller strands, and I'm just tying them together. And then I'm using some ribbon from Hobby Lobby, took the heart that I painted from Walmart, glued that on the top of the bow. And then again, I'm still not happy with the way the connections look because we have brown again from the twine, and I found the perfect covering with some of the mop thread from the Dollar Tree mop heads. You only need 2 strands, but they're kind of furry. Well, they're furry enough where they blend in perfectly with the furry microfiber cloth, and it just makes a beautiful seamless connection. And that's it. I think these came up so, so cute. They make a perfect little hanging in your hallway. So I am working with the red buffalo check print again, and this printable right here. All of my prints today are going to be free printables for you down below in my description box. It used to say see more. That's what you would click. They've changed it to more now. Don't get confused. Just click the word more. It's kind of smaller, so you have to look for it. But a drop-down menu will appear under the video, and that's where all of the links are to my free printables. So these are some wooden hearts I got at Walmart. It was, I think, a package of 6 for $1. It was a great deal, and they don't have any holes in them, which I wanted. And I went ahead and cut, you can see what I did. I traced out the bottom half because that's going to have, you know, the paper on the bottom half of the heart. And then on the top, I am using the Folklore antique wax. Any antique wax or watered down brown paint will work for this. And I'm just making a stain on the top of these hearts. And then I'm blow drying them here. And if you ever, you know, get the stain where it's too strong, you can always use a baby wipe or even a wet paper towel to wipe it off, and it should correct itself, so don't panic. And now I'm using the glue stick again. Love my glue stick. And I'm going to glue the paper on the bottom of the hearts. Now I did strategically choose what I wanted from the other print. I deliberately chose areas that had hearts on them because I thought that was pretty, because we're doing a heart themed decor video. And I'm using the nail file again just to file off the paper. So I'm going to use the Dollar Tree ribbon here, the lace one, and a glue stick and glue it down. Now I did do the kind of the middle part with the glue stick, but on the edges I do use a hot glue gun to secure that ribbon in place. This is a big, beautiful roll of twine you can get at Walmart. So I'm starting here to lay all of my hearts down and glue them on the twine. But I mentioned in last week's video, if you missed it, it's part 1 to this, so make sure you go check it out. I mentioned when I hang things or make things that hang like this on the wall, I always take a little bit of glue and strategically place the items where I want them to either be angled or the nicest part facing forward. I never let them just hang freely, because a lot of times when I've done that and it's on the wall, it doesn't look anywhere near as nice as what I thought it was going to look like. So it is a good idea to use your glue gun for that and tack down where you'd like everything to kind of, you know, you see how I tilted the hearts a little bit? It just looks pretty and graceful. So I went ahead and took some more twine to wrap it. And it occurred to me when I was doing this, if I had left that loop bigger, this would have been totally cute to go over the doorknob on a door, like a decor piece like that. But let me know what you guys think. I'm using some really pretty vintage paper that I purchased in a package. I want to say it was from Temu, but it might have been from Amazon. I'm so sorry. I don't remember now where I got that. But it has like little letter stamps on it, which I thought was so cute because I was thinking it kind of goes with the theme of love letters in the mail. So I purposely cut it out so you can see the stamps and the postmark on there. I just thought that was so cute. But if you Google, you can find tons of free printables with vintage backgrounds on it. So you could choose whatever you want for this. I used my glue stick, glued it down on the Dollar Tree little house, took the Dollar Tree heart right here, tracing it out to get a heart shape. So we're not going to use that wooden heart, we're just using it as a template. And I'm taking these buttons, now these were definitely from Temu, they're so cute, and I'm going to fill it all in with buttons. This is something I have seen for years where people make heart shaped, with buttons. And I thought it was so cute. I have always wanted to try this. I never have. It is a little bit tricky when you're using printed buttons like this and not one color, because you do have to space them out so you don't have the same pattern right next to each other, because you don't want like a repetitive corner that just looks the same. So it did take a while, but I think the results came out absolutely adorable. And I am keeping the bows on these DIYs simple this year. I just thought less is more. That's the look I was going for. So I just used a twine bow, and I'm going to put a little tiny flower. Those are also from Temu up at the top there. This twine on the top is also from Temu. You can use twine from the Dollar Tree as well. And I'm just covering the little rooftop there. And then this is a piece of wood, believe it or not, that came with some packaging with some furniture that I purchased off of Amazon. It was just packing filler, I guess. And there were, I think, 8 pieces. And I thought, oh, this would be great for crafting because they're, for a stand. So I went ahead and kept them, and I painted them with the plaster chalk paint. And then I decided to go ahead and add more of that twine ribbon, or it's actually burlap ribbon. Add more burlap ribbon on top of the little rooftop, I guess, on the sign, and to also put it around the side of what's going to be the base. And again, this is going on that corner shelf. It's going to be kind of higher up on the second shelf down, so you're not really going to see the base, but I didn't want the little house with my heart on to fall and tip if it got bumped. So that's how we handled that. And I just glued it on top. And then I decided to take one of these Dollar Tree hearts because I felt like it was missing something. I kind of wanted, it looked like a heart window, and I thought another cute little heart window. I was thinking chimney. It just seemed like it was missing something at the top. So I added the heart, and we're all done. Another Dollar Tree find is this home sign. It's supposed to be something you hang up on the wall, but I'm going to go ahead and make it a stand-up decor piece. And surprisingly, it has like a thin sheet of veneer wood on it, and it has a lot of splinters and little frayed edges. So I did have to take a nail file and file that all off. And then I went ahead and I used half beads. So I edged the hearts with the beads. I just glued them around. It's funny how just adding a little detail like that too made this look so much more expensive. Now it looks like it comes from a craft home store. But then I dry brushed it with white paint, and that was it. And I think this is so cute and so simple. For this project, I'm using 4 cardboard hearts, and I'm going to be using the scrapbook paper I got from Temu. So I just took a Dollar Tree long board. It was a Christmas sign, and I'm doing a dry brushing to make it look distressed and vintage, and once I like where it's at. And remember, most of this is going to be covered, so I wasn't too weird about it. But once I got it where I wanted it to be, I'm using my glue stick, again, heavily and generously so that the paper won't come off, and I just go about gluing each piece of scrapbook paper onto each one of the hearts. So I started to put a border of twine around the hearts and trim all the loose hairs off, and then I decided I just didn't like it. It made something that was very soft. It suddenly looked kind of harsh, and I didn't have any white trim. I think that would have been okay if I had some thin white like ribbon or maybe like a round cylinder shape, like the butcher's twine, really tiny like that in white, that would have been okay, but I didn't have it, so I just went ahead and left it, because where I'm going to have this sign displayed, it's going to be on a shelf in the corner where no one's going to see the side anyway, but normally I do recommend you cover the sides if it's cardboard. And then the board was a little bit longer than I wanted for these hearts, so I went ahead and took my metal clippers there, they're wonderful, the tin snips, and I went ahead and trimmed off the edge of the sign. And then I decided it didn't look quite distressed enough, so I took my crafting knife and I just scraped off the paint here and there to make it look a little bit more chippy. Next, I'm taking my flame there and just singeing off the little extra hairs. I don't do it too much because I don't want to weaken that piece of thread, and I'm actually not hanging it, but I wanted the option. For now, the hanger's just going to hang behind the sign. It's up on top of a shelf, like a corner hutch, so I'm just leaning it. But I just wanted to leave that just in case I want to hang it in the future. And then I added some little twine bows, and we're all done. But this is my big challenge DIY. I really wanted to put myself up to the challenge to make the DIY completely out of cardboard and make a high-end, nice, classy, expensive looking DIY like craft. You know, I didn't want it to look cheap. So for those of you that have been following my channel, I did something similar when I showed you how to make a faux farmhouse wood sign about 2 years ago. Yeah, it was about 2 years ago now, and we're doing kind of the same principle here, but we're doing a window. Now I'm going to cut out 2 of those because what I do next is a wetter process, and you don't want your cardboard to buckle. Now preferably you should do 3, especially if you're going to do like a big window or a big frame, that kind of thing. And you glue them together, and you know, this is what creates a little bit of a brace for your cardboard. You can also put paint sticks on the back of the DIY to stop it from buckling as well. You just need some kind of brace on the back of your cardboard so that when you apply the next step, it doesn't curl or buckle. So here's the Dollar Tree lightweight spackling, which I tried to work with initially, and I've never really worked with lightweight spackling. I didn't realize that it's really kind of fluffy and almost crumbly. So I was panicking a little bit, and as you can see, I decided to remove it. And the way I countered this is I add some of the chalk paint in there. You can add any paint. You can add latex paint, just any paint. I even added a little bit of water too, but this makes it behave more like the spackling I'm used to, or joint compound. In other countries, you might call it polyfiller or a multi-purpose filler. It's meant to fill nail holes. That's what we're covering this cardboard with, and we're doing it in a way that you will literally not be able to tell it's cardboard at all. It will have texture. The top of the cardboard along the edges will be covered. Everything will be covered. You'll see me doing it right here. It's really quite amazing, and you can make anything you want, and you can make it look nice and expensive like it came from a store. Once it was kind of dry, I just pressed my hands down on it to kind of flatten everything because I want it to look like an old window. So here's the fabric again from Amazon, and here's that multi-purpose spray glue that I talked about and showed in the earlier part of this video. Going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to spray my cardboard heart down and put the fabric on top of it. I made a total of 3 hearts, and I did this while my window was drying. Now you can put your window in front of a fan to speed things up, or you can just let it air dry. While my hearts are drying, I go back to the frame and I give it a nice soft dry brush of gray paint from Apple Barrel. It doesn't matter what brand, any gray paint will work, but I'm just distressing it to make it look nice and old and weathered. I also decide that I want the doily in there, you guys. I love the doilies. So I cut out a heart that's a little bit bigger than the 3 hearts that had the fabric glued on it, and I go ahead and cover that with one of the Dollar Tree lace doilies. Once the fabric is dry, I'm just going to do the same thing that I did with the paper. I'm putting little slits around the edges. For those of you that sew, you know this trick. It just makes it a little bit easier to bend around those curves and those edges without so many wrinkles. I'm going to take one of my fabric hearts and glue it in the middle of the doily heart. So I want to check out and see what the lace ribbon looks like, and I decide to use that. So I'm going to put 3 of the Dollar Tree lace bows down on the hearts and then position them on top of my window and then glue them in place. I thought it would be fun to add some chicken wire behind this window as well for a different look if you wanted to. Even the Dollar Tree white wastebasket, that's that kind of crisscross kind, would look pretty behind this, but either way, it came up so beautiful. Let me know what you guys think. Here's another great find from the Dollar Tree. I got this in the spring section, and I want it for tiered tray decor or just a little tiny shelf accent piece. It's so cute, but I wasn't sure if the bottom would come off, and it did. Watch what I'm doing here. It's so simple. I just go back and forth and boom, it comes off. So if you see these, don't hesitate. They're so cute. And I'm taking a heart shape here, tracing out on the buffalo check paper. We're going to keep it in a theme. And I'm going to go ahead and put that heart on the little canister there. So this really surprised me. I wasn't sure if the glue gun was going to work. I thought, I wonder if I have to do Mod Podge. Well, we're going to try it and we're going to see how it does over the next few days. And it is going strong, even with some steam from the hot water coming up. It's not coming off. So I was really pleased about that. And I didn't even seal it either, not yet, because I thought, well, I'll take this downstairs and I'll take it outside and spray it, 'cause that's a whole setup with cardboard on my deck, and we had a little bit of snow, so I wasn't able to do that. But I don't think it's going to need it, so I'm just going to go ahead and take some Mod Podge and paint the top of this heart and put a little bit around the edges and call it a day, because I'm planning on keeping this on a 3-tiered tray. So this is going to be for Valentine's, and I'm probably also going to keep it up. Well, I am going to keep it up during the summertime because I think this makes a great all year round piece. And I'm taking some burnt umber now, and I'm just kind of putting it on there. You can see what I'm doing and rubbing it with my finger. I just felt like it made the metal look a little bit more authentic, like it was outdoors a little bit, like it's a real watering can instead of sparkling, you know, brand new from the Dollar Tree. Both ways look cute. It totally depends on your decor style, but that's what we end up with, and I think that looks really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and take some of the Spanish moss that I got from Amazon. This is that really nice thick Spanish moss, and I put it inside this little water can because we're going to make a little garden here. I'm taking some of the skewer sticks from the Dollar Tree here. I showed this last week. Again, last week is part 1 to this video, but what I did is I took the foam hearts from the Dollar Tree, I stuck them on the skewer stick, and then I painted them white and antique parchment, and then I mixed 1 drop of bright pink paint into the white paint, and these are both apple barrel paint again, and I added that on the very last 3rd coat was the pink color because I wanted a pastel pink, and then I did my 3rd coat of the antique parchment on these hearts to get them fully covered so that there was no sparkle and glitter showing through. And now I'm taking these and I put a dot of hot glue on the skewer, and I'm going to go ahead and stake them up so that they look like this. And we have 2 cream and 1 pink. And then I'm taking some of the boxwood branches and I'm just sticking them in here and there, and I'm going to put those little hearts in, and that's it. I think this makes such a cute all year round decor piece. This one I had a lot of fun with. I cut all of these hearts out. I'm using some Dollar Tree wrapping paper, some Dollar Tree doilies, some of the fabric, and some of these printables I found online. Again, everything will be down below in my description box. They are free printables. So for this, I am using the glue stick from the Dollar Tree. You can use any glue stick you want, but I am working with wrapping paper, and wrapping paper does have a tendency to crinkle a lot. So you really want to go with your driest choice of glue to avoid any kind of buckling or wrinkling in your final results. So I'm just pressing it down now, and I'm also going to press sideways to make sure those little serrated lines show, because this is actually kind of a dupe that I saw in Hobby Lobby that was metal, but it was flowered. It was like printed metal that had prints on it, and I thought it was so pretty, and they had it out for Valentine's Day, and I thought, you know, I could make something similar and I could do it with this cardboard. So now we're just cutting around the edges here. We're going to do those little slits, and we're going to cover the edge of the cardboard. And this is what it looks like when you're all done. You should see those lines nicely. Now I found this wrapping paper, both rolls, in the wedding section of the Dollar Tree, and they're just, I thought, perfect for love and romance and soft Valentine's Day decor. And the other prints I just printed up on my printer using regular old printer paper. And of course, here comes the doily. Now for this one, you don't need to cover the cardboard at all. It looks like wood underneath, and it provides perfect dimension so that you can actually see the lace design really pretty. And I'm going to cover all of the hearts, and then I'm going to go ahead and situate them and hot glue them down in the position that I want. I'm kind of making like a heart collage, I guess. And now I'm adding some ribbon, and you know, it's lace ribbon, and then a nice bow that I saved for this craft. I actually made that bow in my bow video, my bow hack video, and I wanted to save it for the Valentine's Day craft. And I'm adding some nice little Dollar Tree flowers. And then lastly, I decide that my lace doily heart is a little bit too plain in the center. I mean, you can leave it if you want to, but I just felt like, why not? Just add a little bit more texture, a little bit more design. So we're doing the trick again with the felt heart, and we're doing it with fabric this time. And we're going to cut it out and put it on the middle of the lace doily. Ross is a great place to find stuff on clearance when you go there. This was the same price as the Dollar Tree, but twice as long as the pieces that they sell. So I just broke off the words, cut it in half, and it made a perfect stand for this craft. And I'm just using a little bit of hot glue to hold the front in place. Now, I don't have any towering blocks at any of my Dollar Trees. They are sold out and I can't find them, so I might end up ordering those online. But in the meantime, I cut a bunch of craft sticks and glued them together so that they would work the same way for the same purpose. I just want to give a little bit of a brace in the back of this project so it holds it up. Added some of those velvet bows, and we're all done. You'll need 3 Dollar Tree Votive candles, some cardboard hearts, some Spanish moss, and this material that I found on Amazon, but you can use any kind of material you want, or you can even use craft paper if you'd prefer. And normally I would say there's a link in my description box, but I actually bought the last one, but there were other choices out there. But you definitely can find little pieces of fabric like this on Amazon all over the place. So I started off using that aerosol spray glue that I talked about in the last Shop With Me video. That was fantastic. It is a little bit more watery than Mod Podge and much easier to work with. As you can see, I can lift the heart up, I can put it back down. You'll see later here where it's not quite high enough on the heart. I want the edges of my heart to be covered, and so I just slide the material up really easy, and I really liked it for this kind of application. Once they're all dry, I'm just kind of grouping them together in the groups that I like. And I'm putting, of course, my favorite prints on the front. The backs will be covered, and they are very pretty. They're just not my favorite prints. So I'm doing that so that they face forward. And you can see what I'm talking about right here. Even though I glued these together, some of them stuck together, but some of them didn't, and I did end up having to go around just like this with hot glue and squeeze them together. No big deal. It made a perfect little seam on the edge of your heart. And when working with cardboard, that's a really important part, in my opinion, is covering those edges, because once you do that, no one can tell that you're working with cardboard. And now I'm just going to put a small dot of hot glue and stack each one of these hearts on top of each other. But I make little bows, first putting the yarn down, but I want to put a pearl in the middle. So to avoid the bulk, I'm using the Dollar Tree lace ribbon now, and you can see how I'm going about making this bow. I did not include this kind of bow in my recent bow video, but this is a great way to keep your bows flat and pretty so you can add the middle. Next, we're going to add a little bit of the burnt umber paint into a spray bottle, also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to give it a good shake. And I'm going to spray these to kind of antique them and make them look older. Now, this isn't for everyone. You can skip this part if you want to. Again, it's my style, and I just love to do that. I don't really want the material to look totally brand new. I like it to look a little antiqued. So I put a little hot glue inside the votive to hold the Spanish moss down. Then I put some glue on top of that to hold the heart in place so it stands up straight. And I did this for all three, and I think that this project came up so beautiful. It came out exactly the way I was envisioning it.